Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Ask a Muso, brought to you by Jim's Cleaning, Butterham South. A different time of day, and I'm doing something a bit different, and it's my absolute pleasure to welcome my first international guest of the podcast to you all. So I'll throw over to you, Georgia. Tell everyone a bit about yourself and where you're from.
Hello. First of all, thank you so much for having me. My name's Georgia. I'm 24 and I'm from Brighton in the UK. I've been playing drums for about 16 years now. And yeah, love it. Still obsessed.
That's fantastic. I am hoping that I'm going to be in that exact ballpark figure in a few years when I get to that. So for music, has it always been drums, or did you start somewhere else, another instrument, or how did it all sort of begin for you?
I never really grew up in a musical family. I'm the only musician in my family. Having said that though, my parents were very, very big into playing music around the house when I was younger. Constantly just music around the house. They're really into like 90s house music, so that's really weird that I like rock music now, I guess. But when I was in school, we had a teacher come in and do like an assembly, and they were like, who wants to play trumpet? So I put my hand up and they're like, sorry, you're too young, you can't play trumpet. So I waited 3 years. And I was just like, all I want to do is play trumpet, like literally thinking about it every single day. And then literally like the week before I was old enough to do trumpet, I went to like a friend's house who had like a toy drum kit, and I sat behind it and I was just like, oh, this is cool. And it was like near Christmas. And then I was like to my mum, can you get me like a toy drum kit just for jokes, I guess? And she was like, fine, but you have to have a drum lesson. And then, yeah, from there I just got obsessed. Then when I was old enough to play the trumpet, I hated it so much.
Yeah. You always want what you can't have, and then the moment you can have it, it just sort of loses its appeal. It's all about the chase. I actually had that with drums. I was not allowed to play drums in primary school until I got to grown-up levels, because you had to play recorder, and then you had to play guitar, and then
I had the recorder as well.
and flute and all that, and I was like, I don't want to do that. But yeah, it sucks. It's when you can't have it, you want it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I was definitely that kid in class who would like blow really hard into the recorder as well to try and make everyone laugh. So I mean, I don't blame them for not letting me play trumpet. And to be fair, when I did play trumpet, I just used to mess around, and I used to get like the ring from where the mouthpiece was on my lip from where I was pushing it in too hard. And I'd always be like, oh, well, I play drums now, so it doesn't matter. I was so bad.
No, see, the keys and the actual, this is going to sound funny, the blowing, I'm not so good with the blowing of those sorts of instruments. I just don't have that, like the purse your lips thing and all that. And the fingers for piano, I don't have either of those skills.
I'm so asthmatic. Yeah, literally.
Never had those skills. So when you did end up picking up the drum kit, and you did lessons. So you did lessons. How old were you when you started lessons?
So I was 8 years old when I started lessons. I started with a guy. Obviously, you're in Australia, so I'm not sure if you've heard of him, but he's called Dill Davies. So he owns a brand called Porter and Davies, who do like drum thrones now, which is like, it sounds so weird, but they vibrate when you play, so you can, like, if you can't hear the bass in the mix, like in your ears. Yeah. He's doing pretty well with that. But yeah, I took lessons with him until I was about 16 maybe, so about 8 years. I think it's really important to always still take lessons, even though I feel like I've been doing this a fair amount of time now. I think it's important to keep fresh, and you never know as much as you think you do. I also went to university to study drums. Sounds super weird, I know.
No, I wish I had the opportunity to do that. That would have been sick. Like, there was music courses and things, and I did music production and stuff at an arts college and all that. But to actually just sit behind the drum kit and have lots of people that do the exact same thing, and have someone who knows a lot more about it than you tell you how it goes, that would be awesome. I'd love to do something like that.
Yeah, so where I live, we have a place called BIM, which is like the British and Irish Modern Institute of Music, and I think that's what it is. And I can't remember, it changes all the time. We basically, you do like professional musicianship, or you can do like production, like you said, but you can specialise in one instrument. So I did it in drums and percussion, so it was super good for me, because it kind of taught me all my technique, and it was super strict. Like, I remember doing rudiments and stuff, and like my teacher would come round and he'd like smack down your sticks if you were like hitting too high. You weren't doing like proper.
That's like a movie.
It was like Whiplash, yeah.
Yes.
It probably wasn't as brutal as Whiplash, but it was kind of
more
like
Drumline. Have you seen Drumline, where he can't sight read and he plays? Oh, so it's a marching band thing in like America. He can't sight read. He's the lead snare player. He has no idea how to sight read. But all these teachers and coaches and all that will just play him, like 16 bar phrases, and he'll just nut them out by sight. And then they go, okay, here's this, and then they realize that if they don't play it first, he doesn't actually know how to play it, and he can't sight read, and that's the whole thing. But it's all, no, eyes at the front. No, eyes at the front. We don't look at the drums, eyes at the front, and all that stuff. It's all the same things. With the sticks on the stick saying, can't do that, and all that. Same sort of thing.
Well, I haven't seen that, but I know what I'm doing after this. Gonna go and watch that. What's it called?
Drumline.
Drumline, nice. Yeah, so that was really cool. So that was 3 years of my life. So that was really good for like technique. It was really good for, like you said, for reading, to like testing my sight reading. I also, while I was there, wanted to go out and get other lessons with other people who were doing what I wanted to do just for the connections. I'm sure the drum community is super nice and, well, most of the time, super nice and helpful and wants to help everyone out. So I started taking lessons with a session drummer over here called Charisse Osei, who plays for a band called Simple Minds, and she did like Mika and stuff. And then another guy called Eddie Thrower, who was the drummer for a band called Low Atlantis, and he's played for like Dua Lipa and Busted. So I took a lesson with him, just trying to network. Yeah, that's kind of like in terms of like education I've had. I've kind of, obviously, like now I'm in like adult life, it's hard to do as much lessons, but I've been trying to force myself to do it still. I think it's important. You never know everything.
Yeah, I think it's more of like a personal development discussion with instruments rather than a lesson. And it's just having that mentor that you could send a message and say, gee, 16 bar phrase, get your head around this because I'm struggling. It's having that per person. And I've noticed that in my sponsorship group, there's a different varying level of people that have played, so many gigs, and those that have done a lot of rudimentary stuff and have stuck in that vibe of making sure their sight reading is up to scratch. And I probably ducked out on the latter, and I was probably more gig heavy, and I've played a lot of shows and probably have missed out on that until now when we're not allowed to do anything and not allowed to go anywhere. And that's sort of now where I'm going, okay, let's start again. And as Sarah said the other week, it's given me a chance to go back to basics and just noodle out some rudiments. And that's sort of what I'm sort of doing now, is because why not? Now is as good a time as any.
Yeah, same like with me. Like I think we mentioned when we were chatting on Instagram about doing the Roseanna shuffle.
Yes.
I've been trying to do that properly. Like his hi-hats are so perfect. Every single note is exactly the same. I've been trying to get that tip-top for years, like absolute years, and I was like, yeah, I can kind of play it sloppily. But now every day I've just been like, right, let's get that bow diddly, let's get it super.
Yeah. And just like I that lesson I did, which I could show you on Facebook. This isn't a plug. Promise this isn't a plug. I could show you on Facebook. Is basically the compilation between the two grooves, which I actually studied when I was in year 12. And that was like my final year piece, was to basically find a series of songs and sort of pretty much it was music investigation, like investigate anything I wanted. But with my instrument, I did the evolution of rock drumming progressively between like Ginger Baker era to Foo Fighters with Taylor Hawkins.
Oh, amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I did a large evolution of things like that and included short snippets of each song for a 25-minute set. And one of them was I did Bit of Bo Diddley, and then I did Fall in the Rain, and then how that molded into Roseanna, and how he says that he actually stole that groove from Fall in the Rain. And how he different people he aspired to, and people who were inspired by him, and he was inspired by Ginger Baker and things like that, and so was Ringo Starr, and then they all different, and they all were actually connected. And I didn't know this. I just picked people I liked and found out they're actually all connected. So yeah, and that's a staple groove.
Yeah, I saw him mention Bonham at one point as well, and I was like, how does Bonham influence that a bit? It's mad, yeah.
It is so cool. So what will you play is, you said before a bit of a rock style of drumming that you sort of play, and with your bands and things like that. Yeah, what else do you sort of listen to? Is that your sort of niche? Your genre is like progressive and rock and stuff like that?
In terms of listening, I guess I I used to be like heavily into rock, and I don't know why. I think subconsciously I felt like I needed to prove something being a female drummer, which is so stupid thinking back to it now. I was like, I want to hit the hardest, I want to be the loudest, because I'm tiny, I'm 5'1".
That especially reminds me of when we were talking about G Flip just before we got on here. And talking about that, she's not exactly a giant either.
Yeah, but she sounds massive behind the drums. And she sings as well, which blows my mind. I've never been able to master that. From studying music, it kind of put me off a bit listening to all the rock music. I was very like, oh man, I don't want to listen to pop music when I was a teenager. Like that, arrogant little moody teenage Georgia. But I guess nowadays I'm very tacky. You can't see, but behind me I have a massive poster of Ariana Grande.
I have seen that on your stories that you're gonna name your firstborn child Ariana, whether it's a boy or a girl, because you're so in love with her. So yeah, I've seen a lot of that.
You know that.
Especially when it was your birthday and everyone was sharing stories on your thing about that. Name one thing that signifies me, and yeah, it was every single story was saying,
was that. Yeah. I don't know what happened. Like, I just listened to her and I was like, oh, okay, you're a pretty good role model for someone like me. And I even have her handwriting tattooed on me. It's so lame. I know, it's so cringe. Nobody knows all this, but yeah, I'm spilling it all right now. But yeah, her drummer's really cool. When I went to see, it's Aaron Spears. When I went to see her, I was just like blown away, because she was just like, doing her thing, and then he was just like, and I was just like, yeah. But I like to listen to pop music now, because especially my band split up last year, so I do like session stuff now. So I think it's really important. I've got like this guy here.
Oh, so, yes, yeah. The 9-pad.
Yeah.
Is that a red Roland 9-pad?
Yeah, so this is the anniversary edition of the SPDSX, yeah.
Oh, that's sick. The colours are sick.
Yeah, I'm all about the red, so I was like, I need that one.
Yes.
Yeah, annoyingly, I haven't got to use it live yet because of the old Rona, but yeah.
So you said that the band split up, and you're doing session work. So sort of take me through what you're up to at the moment, and sort of what the last, whenever we were allowed to do stuff, from there up until sort of to date, what you're up to.
Yeah, so I currently play drums for a singer-songwriter called Luke Rainsford. It's kind of cool. He's got quite a good following over here. He essentially does like acoustic emo stuff, which sounds really weird considering I'm a drummer. But he has like a completely different version with it live. He used to be in a band that was on the same record label as my old band. So yeah, we just met like years ago, little babies, and then he asked me to be his drummer. And it's kind of annoying because we've had a few tours cancelled, but playing for him at the moment and just, trying to get myself out there as much as possible, play for as many people as possible, which is so hard when you're in isolation. But yeah, posting drum videos as much as I can when I can get to go to the studio.
Yeah, so whereabouts is that in proximity to you? Is that just like a bit of a drive, or like just down the road, or? It's
literally like a 5-minute drive away from me.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so I have a lock-up with my flatmate's a producer, and he also plays for Luke Rainsford, he's a guitarist. So yeah, Ben's my flatmate, he does all the production side of things for my videos. I'm very lucky that he wants to like create content all the time. He's obsessed with drums as well, so it's perfect for me.
That is the dream.
I would have to pay some. I know, yeah, he's also a really good drummer. He's good at everything, I swear. So we have the studio together, and we literally moved to this flat because it's near it. So it's pretty good for us. It's just like obviously social distancing at the moment. We have to be a bit careful going out and stuff where we live. But yeah, I'm pretty lucky that I have that. It's all soundproof. We built like panels to put on the wall. And then I guess my setup here is like an electronic kit, and then practice pads. I try and keep all my actual drums at the studio because I don't want to annoy my neighbours.
That's fair enough. Yeah, as I said before, that's where I'm at with... that one's a shared wall, and yeah, it's a bit tricky for me. I'm trying to manage it. I have pads and things like that, but at the same time, I feel like just playing on pads and having a bit of a boring experience. Everyone can still hear it from outside, and if you're next door, you can still hear the thuds.
Yeah, it's not the same in terms of...
Just smash it out. Half an hour of like solid playing, and then just bin it for the day. That's sort of the approach I've been taking with some recordings, things like that. Just like get it out as quickly as I can. Because I used to live on a self-contained property where the neighbours were like 6-7 meters away from my room. Actually, probably more than that. Probably more like 12 meters away from my room. So it was not an issue. One of them, when we actually got a new extension in with new installation and things, asked if I'd actually stop playing drums.
Oh, really? Wow.
I've never fingers crossed, had that the grouchy neighbor comment yet. So I'm just putting my cards close to my chest and just playing it safe as best I can while still actually enjoying myself and doing something.
Yeah, I guess I've never had like any neighbours be annoyed. When I was really young and I used to live back home, I had like a little like beginner's kit, and we took the heads off and put mesh heads on them. I don't know if you've tried that. Obviously, it's not ideal if you're recording.
That's the thing. It's like, it's just the tuning thing. I feel that if I do the pads, the heads just need a little bit of a tweak up when I take the pads back off, and then it's just ready to go. Whereas if I have to put like Remo silent strokes on, then I've got to like put effort in, and then I've got to like redo the whole thing, and it's just a lot of work, and I just prefer not to do that. Because then to tune, you want to hit it to see what it sounds like, and nothing would be more annoying than hearing doom, doom, doom for like half an hour straight before I actually play. So I figure that's the lesser of two evils at the moment. And also that's what made me think about doing this, was because it's an opportunity for me to not really make much noise and still engage and sort of check in on lots of people that I know are normally doing stuff, and just make sure everyone's having a good time as best they can.
Well, I love it. Yeah, I've been watching all the episodes, really enjoying it so far. So what you're doing is good.
Yeah, well, I hope it gives someone something to do, and I keep them like not bite-sized, but a little bit longer so people can sit down and enjoy it, and yeah, not be so bored, and a bit of a change of scenery, something else to look at. So with that all in the moment, with the fact I still can't get over the fact your flatmate is basically content crazy, loves drums, and produces all the things for you.
I'm so lucky. He's literally like, come and do that. Like, let's do this. He's the one who's like, yeah, let's go and do it. Like, I feel bad as well because it's just like, it looks like I'm doing everything, but it's like, no, he's doing everything. I'm just hitting things, and he's putting up with me like playing things wrong all the time, and just like making it sound good. I'm very lucky.
Well, that's like me with my best mate Monty. We used to live about an hour away, and now obviously we live about 2.5 hour flight away. And it's I'll just come to him like, this whole idea was a Thursday night. I said, Monty, guess what? I've had an idea. Answer your phone. And I just sent him this pitch. Oh, I've got an idea, and we do this all the time. And with our songs, we've got a song coming out and stuff like that. And with all our stuff
amazing.
like that, I just sort of remotely say, hey, what are you up to? Do you want to do something? And we sort of stayed connected that way through the fact that we're far away, and that he couldn't travel here and vice versa, because we still had the ability to connect and say, hey, I had an idea. Play bass for something. I'll send you the tracks you can play along to, and then I'll mix it. And that's how we've sort of been doing things.
But that's the good thing about like, you know, having home studios and stuff, and having the equipment to be able to do that stuff. It's so much, and also with this time we're having it right now, there's so much time, so much good content to come out, and people collaborate and work together on things they wouldn't have done before. Yeah,
and for me, it's been an opportunity to put my say things to someone that I wasn't necessarily aware of before, or like with yourself, just to say, hey, what's the worst you can say is no. I'll just ask, see if she's interested, and you were interested, and I've had that with a couple of people, and like maybe one or two false starts where people just haven't got back to me or whatever. But other than that, pretty much everyone's been saying, oh, really? Okay. And then now that it's established, people understand what it is that they're being on.
I'm honoured, man, honestly.
And I think it's cool. I'm excited that you're my first international guest. It's quite a flex for me. So I was quite pleased, because I kept saying in my things that I'm doing this as local and abroad, and I was like, I would like someone who's abroad soon. So it was good it's been good to have you on. Well, I have enjoyed this. It's been awesome to touch base and have a bit of a chat.
Yeah.
But just before we go, is there anything you want to sort of plug, or tell me about, or tell everyone about your socials, or anything you got coming up, or?
Yeah, so I guess my YouTube channel would be a good place to find videos of me drumming. I think it's just youtube.com/Georgia Challinor. And then my Instagram, which is just my name, Georgia Challinor. And then the guy I play for, Luke Rainsford, has a few new singles coming out. So this is coming up in June, so you should have one out by then.
Ooh,
so yeah.
Nice. Well, that's exciting.
Yeah.
So you're on the studio stuff now. You're all on all these tracks.
Unfortunately not. He's actually a drummer as well, so he plays them.
Ah, you're kidding. So everyone you know plays drums.
Yeah, yeah, literally.
Well, it's pretty sick that you asked me part of it then, considering everyone else you seem to know plays drums. See, for me in high school, I had no one that played drums, really. There was a couple of people that were a couple of years above, but in my year level, I was really the only one that played. So it meant that if anyone needed anyone... Who did you
look up to? I'm like reversing it now, asking you a question. Who did you look up to when you started playing drums?
I was really put into Steve Gadd with lessons, early days. But someone that just played the kit and had a good time, and that I enjoyed watching, would probably be Taylor Hawkins. And my first stadium show I ever went to was Foo Fighters.
Foo Fighters, amazing, yeah.
So yeah, I feel like that would probably be my idea of thrashing and having a good time, but also like Chad Smith and things like that for groove, and I like Red Hot Chili Peppers and stuff like that. So there's a few different influences there, but yeah, for me it was more I struggled to try and find a local person or someone that was attainable within reach that I could say, I like what you do, or something like this where I'm someone that's at a level that's approachable rather than famous or not as good as you. It's someone that's in that realm. And I didn't really have that mental space until I did lessons and later on in life. So I've been sort of looking for that my whole time. So I never really had like superstar fans. I could appreciate it. And then, the Foo Fighters' first gig, that was pretty massive. So I suppose Taylor Hawkins would be high on that list.
Yeah, he's awesome. Blows my mind. Like when I've seen the Foo Fighters, I've just been absolutely blown away. And he can sing as well at the same time.
Exactly. Like he can literally swap around. Like in one of my bands, the Sundowners, we when we did our EP launch in November, we actually had there's one song that Lockie and I, the front man, we switch around on. He plays drums and I strum acoustic guitar at the front and have a sing. And I'd never done that before. And if you'd said to me, 6 months ago before I moved here that you'd be fronting a band at a 300-person EP launch to play guitar, I would have been like, nah, that's silly. I don't play guitar. So it's sort of changed in that respect. And so you never know what can happen at the other end. And at the other side, there's always options, especially when everyone plays drums. You have to branch out, do something else, have something extra, have another thing to add under your wing.
I am learning guitar while in isolation, so...
Excellent.
Yeah, getting there, yeah.
Fantastic. Well, that's awesome. Well, thanks so much for having a chat with me, Georgia. I really enjoyed it. And once again, I'll be doing another one of these every Tuesday, and I've really enjoyed this one. So hit the subscribe and the bell on my YouTube if you're interested in seeing more of these when they come out. I'll be doing one of these every week. And until next time, I'll see you later. With borrowed time.